Welcome to something to talk about. Yeah, really loud. Welcome to something to talk about.
There you go. You heard the 3-year-old. Welcome to something to talk about. We're talking about Alaric Stark, the prickly wolf, and a much bigger fan theory than I thought it was when I started writing this. All right, let's just get going. Hi, welcome to something to talk about. I hope you guys are liking the intro. That is my 3-year-old daughter, and that is me giving her notes. Let's do it louder. Do better. That is our best take, believe it or not. Okay. What's going on here? This is what's going on here. I'm talking about a Song of Ice and Fire character. I do them Game of Thrones books lore here. And if you've never read this, go ahead, pause it, read it. Because we're getting right into Alaric Stark, the prickly wolf, Lord of Winterfell, and Alysanne plus Alaric. A+A=A? We'll get to it. All right. So who's Alaric Stark? So this is one of those Fire and Blood characters, right? Well, because he's not Ned, right? So he must be from before Ned. You guys know who all the Starks are in the main series, so this must be somebody different. So he was brother and heir to Walton Stark, who was Lord of Winterfell, and eventually he was Lord of House Stark himself during the reign of Jaehaerys the First. So kind of towards the beginning of the reign of Jaehaerys the First, he comes to power. We'll get to that. And yeah, throughout kind of the first little bit, you know, because Jaehaerys kind of outlives everybody. But yeah, so this is after Maegor the Cruel. You got Alaric Stark, who's up there in the north. Yeah, why did I say any of this? Alaric was notoriously prickly and had a flinty reputation. He was said to be hard, stern, and unforgiving, tight-fisted, almost to the point of being meager, humorless, and joyless, and cold. So yeah, he's kind of a... He might not be the coolest guy, although he was respected by the Northmen. Most did not love him, except for the garrison in Winterfell. They liked him. According to Archmaester Gildane, after spending some time at Winterfell, Queen Alysanne, and don't worry, we're getting to that whole thing, I'm not just brushing over it, came to know Alaric as having reserved humor with an edge to it, but not being an ill host, despite being careful with his coin. Yeah, he's not an ill host, even though he was careful with his coin. The Manderly's fool said, "Methinks Alaric has not moved his bowels since he was 12," which is hilarious. That would make me prickly too. I need the poo. So maybe that's what's up with him. He doesn't poo much. Just constipated. The constipated wolf. House Stark. You guys know. All right. So always my second slide is the house. We'll get through house. You guys all know who House Stark is. We'll get through it quick. House Stark of Winterfell is a great house of Westeros and a principal noble house of the North. In days of old, they ruled as kings of winter, but since Aegon's conquest, they have been wardens of the North and ruled as lords of Winterfell. Their seat of Winterfell is an ancient castle renowned for its strength. The Starks have a reputation of long faces, brown hair, and gray eyes. Some are known for being melancholy and iciness, while others have have a wildness, sometimes called the wolf blood. He's more the icy, cold, long-faced Stark. He's more Ned, less Brandon, right? Okay. Their sigil is a gray direwolf racing across a field of white. Their words are "Winter is coming." One of the few houses' mottos that are a warning rather than a boast. Yeah, stuff's gonna get weird. House Stark. All right, that's actually pretty funny. All right, so Lord of Walton Stark. So Alaric attended the Golden Wedding in King's Landing with his father, Lord Brandon Stark, and older brother Walton in 49 AC. Yeah, that's right. Rhaegar Baratheon, when he married very young king, very young old King Jaehaerys, when Rhaegar married his mother, and they had a huge wedding, which a lot of stuff happens there. I love the Golden Wedding. Is probably one of my favorite weddings. I love weddings. Oh, that always make me cry. This one had like the war for the gold cloaks and all this stuff, or the white cloaks, war for the white cloaks, and yeah, Rhaegar Baratheon's wedding was huge. It was a big event. It was like Woodstock. Definitely the Harrenhal of its time. The tourney of Harrenhal, not the burning Harrenhal. Brandon, the Lord, soon died after returning north and was succeeded by Walton. When the disgraced former Kingsguard knights Sir Oliver Bracken and Raymond Mallory launched a mutiny of the Night's Watch in 50 AC, so the next year, Lord Walton rode north to aid loyal Black brothers in putting down the rebellion. After Walton beheaded Oliver with ice at Rimgate, the other mutineers fled beyond the wall from Sable Hall. Walton pursued them into the haunted forest, but his party came under attack by giants. No! It is claimed that Lord Stark slew 2 giants before he was torn apart. Wow. The surviving Northmen bringing his body parts back to the castle back. Yeah, with the surviving Northmen bringing his body parts back. Alaric, who succeeded Walton of Winterfell, blamed King Jaehaerys Targaryen for his brother's death, as the mutineers' lives have been spared by the young old king after the wars of Maegor the First Targaryen. So what all does that mean? Well, Maegor had a bunch of, crappy folk working for him, right? So when Jaehaerys took over, he kind of emptied out all of not only Maegor's like political prisoners he had in the black cells. Do I have a sneeze coming? I think I have a sneeze coming. Nope. All right. I'm gonna. After all that, I didn't have a sneeze coming. I paused it. I thought I had a sneeze. Okay, so Maegor had. Wow, that was some professional stuff. Maegor had a bunch of political prisoners, but also just a bunch of people working for him. So when Jaehaerys took over, he had a lot of house cleaning, right? Either political prisoners down in the dungeons, or just people who sided with Maegor. All of these people, and also Kingsguard members, right? So he just took them all and either like, you dead, or Night's Watch. And a lot of them said Night's Watch, and some of them said we dead. So they were dead. So 2 of the people who took the black were I want to say Kingsguard members, right? Kingsguard Knights, Oliver Bracken and Raymond Mallory. And they went up there with a bunch of men, a bunch of power, because thousands of people got sent up there. And Jaehaerys just kind of like, that's a good place for him. And he didn't think about how the Night's Watch wasn't actually super powerful. Therefore, if these guys are loyal to these Kingsguard dudes, they now have seats, and they just took these castles and they were like, screw it. We have a strength. The Night's Watch can't do anything about it. So then Walton Stark had to go up there, and then while he was taking them down, he got killed by giants. So that's right, Alaric, not a big fan of old Jerry. Okay, so let's now talk about. So now he's in power, right? That's what I said. He blames old King Jerry, new young MC Jerry. A wolf and a she-bear. I love this. Lord Alaric was wed to a Mormont of Bear Island. They had 2 sons and a daughter, Alara. Alaric said, I don't know how to say Alaric. Alaric, whatever you want to call it, said his wife had taken an axe to a pack of wolves when she had been 12 and had 2 of them sewn into a cloak from their skins. That's awesome. Alaric's wife died in 55 AC when Queen Alysanne later expressed her regret for never meeting Lady Stark. Alaric would say she was a Mormont of Bear Island, no lady by your likes. And about his daughter she gave him, he would say, a daughter as sweet to look upon as any of your southern ladies. Yeah, he loved his bear wife. And who wouldn't? Like, I love the idea of a big bear wife. She kills wolves. At least, I think she's great. So yeah, now we're gonna talk about the fabled when Alysanne Targaryen came up, because that's what this whole video is about. I made it 10 minutes before I brought up Queen Alysanne Targaryen. So Alaric and his sons received Queen Alysanne Targaryen during the royal progress to Winterfell in 58. So a few years after she died, his wife died, and like 8 years after he took the throne. Yeah. So he scoffed at her clothes right when she showed up. He scoffs at her clothes, saying that she wasn't dressed warm enough. He asked the queen not to take her dragon Silverwing inside the castle walls. I have not seen Harrenhal, but I know what happened there, he said. He received her ladies and knights, but warned them not to overstay, for this is the north and winter is coming. We cannot feed 1,000 men for long. When the queen told him that only a tenth of that number would show up, he said, that's good. Fewer would even be better. You can't win with this guy. Hey, we can't have 1,000 men. We only got 100. Still too much. Shut up. He decided her initial offers, or he declined her initial offers to arrange marriages and alliances for his sons with daughters of great southern lords, by pointing out that he says that House Stark keeps the old gods and they will be married in front of a heart tree, he said. After Alysanne pointed out that several southern houses kept the old gods, he promised to discuss the matter with his sons. I don't think anything came of it, though. Alaric also scoffed at not wanting to have a feast for a large royal delegation, citing that if you are expecting balls and masks and dances, you have come to the wrong place. Yeah. So kind of a stick in the mud, this dude. We won't be having any fun. Leave your dragon outside. But as you guys might know, Alysanne was kind of a charming lady and eventually started to win her over. So winning over the wolf. Alaric was uncertain of how to entertain a queen and unhappy that Jaehaerys did not come up with Alysanne. So let me give it a little bit of a backstory. Way back in the day when Aegon the First would do his royal progresses, he would bring like a little army with him, thousands of people. So he wasn't able to visit smaller houses. He could only visit bigger ones because they could actually house all those people. So then when the young King Jaehaerys decided, or young old king actually, hey, we're going to do royal progresses, but let's send small contingencies forward, and then we'll just fly there with our dragons, right? So we'll have our dragons, we'll show people the strength of the dragons, so no one's going to mess with us, and bringing their dragons with, like what happened to Aegon the Uncrowned won't happen, right? So Aegon the Uncrowned was doing a royal progress, right? And then the Faith of the Seven, like the Faith Militant, were able to like siege him at this place because he didn't have strength with him, but also didn't have dragons. So he's like, we're not going to bring a big army, so that way we can visit smaller houses too, but we'll have Silverwing and Vermithor with, so no one's going to mess with us. I gave you all that backstory to say, then they were like, let's do a northern progress. They never gone to the north. So they were planning on doing it, but then like some of those free cities, I don't have this planned. I don't always have everything in the top of my head. Like Tyrosh and Pentos or whatever were warring with each other. So he then decided to have peace talks at King's Landing. So he had these like people from the free cities over, and they had to like come up with peace talks. And that was when they were already planning on going north. And those peace talks took way longer. So Queen Alysanne went up there, and like I just said, Alaric was mad that Jaehaerys wasn't with, and she's up there for a long time because those peace talks took forever. So that's your little backstory. All right, cool. So yeah, he was unhappy that Jaehaerys did not come with her. However, he warmed to the queen, and she learned that he wasn't all his reputation claimed, which I stated in the first one, that he was actually kind of cool. He eventually took her hunting in the Wolveswood for elk and a wild boar and showed her the bones of a giant. He also allowed her to rummage as she pleased through the modest castle library because she loves reading. She's half a maester. He even approached Silverwing, though warily. He's like, all right, we'll see this dragon. And then the dragon looked at him and was like, yep, not for me. She eventually won over the castle as well, like all the castle people, and Alaric's daughter, Alara. When Alysanne continued the journey north, Alaric sent word ahead to the King's Watch, is where she was going, to Luthor Burley, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Did I say King's Watch? The Night's Watch. Informing him of her upcoming arrival at Castle Black. Alaric was cold towards Jaehaerys when the king arrived 6 months later. So showing him Walton's tomb in the crypt of Winterfell, placing the blame at Jaehaerys. Though the Stark and Targaryen would never become friends, thanks to the ghost of Walton, but thanks to the queen, they found grounds to work together. All right, I said a lot there. So I'm not really going to cover her going up to the wall, but there's like really, that's where a lot of like she holds women's court at Barrowtown and at Molestown. And that's kind of where she came up with the whole abolishing rights of the first night, right? So that was a really big deal. Her stay at the wall is really important, but that's how I'm not covering that. I'm covering Alaric Stark. I didn't even know how to say the guy's name. What am I doing? So 6 freaking months that he's with the queen, and then the king finally shows up, and he's like, "Hey, let's go down to the crypts," mirroring Ned immediately taking Robert down to the crypts. But instead of like, "Hey, this is the chick you used to love and you killed all those people for," he's like, "This dude died for you and you didn't even send flowers, you jerk." And he really doesn't like Jaehaerys because he blames him for the death of his brother. Like, you sent up thousands of people who were already proven to be disloyal. Of course they did this. And of course my brother had to put it down. And guess what? He got killed by giants. Not a good way to go. He got torn to pieces. Screw the king. I don't remember voting for you. That's what he said. But eventually, thanks to, Queen Alysanne kind of like, hey, come on, guys, stop fighting. They never became friends, but they did end up working together, right? Because they had to come up with plans for the new gift. So they had to start working together. Reluctant Alaric. According to Archmaester Gildane, Alysanne charmed the reluctant Alaric into granting the new gift to the Night's Watch. Because when she was up there, they all said, like, we don't have enough land to live off of. So even though Alaric was a strong friend of the Watch, he knew the northern lords who already held these lands in question would not be happy to give them away. According to Maester Yandel, however, the Starks were opposed to the royal demand, and Alaric's sons wrote letters to the Citadel asking the Maesters about precedents against the forced denotion of property. So they were looking for like they like wrote the Supreme Court. Like the king's like, hey, we're gonna take these lands. Sorry. His sons were like, hey, Supreme Court of Maesters, this legal? Is there precedents? Like, we can't do this, right? He can do it. He's king. Turns out we don't have a Supreme Court. We don't have power. And this is a monarchy. Sorry. Oops. Oops, we did a monarchy. Alaric did not attend at the tourney in King's Landing, which was to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Jaehaerys' coronation, sending his sons instead. Alaric ordered his bannermen to put aside half of their harvests in anticipation of the winter of 59 to 60 AC, but not all the northern men obeyed, resulting in a famine. Woof. Lord Alaric died in 72 AC and was succeeded by his grandson Edric Stark, as Alaric's 2 sons had preceded him in death. So they died maybe of the famine first, and then his grandson became Lord. Yeah, it's all pretty, doesn't sound great. Like, hey, did we store enough food? Nope. Well, thousands of us just died. Winters stink, especially year-long winters in the frozen north. I just get winter-long winters in North Dakota, and that's rough enough. All right, so that was all of his story. Most of it's just his relationship with Queen Alysanne, and then later when Jaehaerys shows up. So let's talk about the fan theory. I've only heard this one stated a little like here and there, and I did a deep dive. So A+A=A. I don't know if it's called that. I might have coined A+A=A if it's stated somewhere, but I don't think this one has a name yet. So mine. All right. A widely believed theory about Alaric, and I do actually think widely. Like, I ran into this way more than I thought. It might not be talked about a lot, but I found multiple posts on it, and then even YouTubers, which I'll get to, have talked about it. So it's definitely out there. Widely believed theory about Alaric was, well, Alysanne was alone in Winterfell for 6 months waiting on her husband. They had an affair. Bittersteel on Westeros.org claimed that Alaric bedded Alysanne as a revenge for Walton's death, and he simped over her, and that's why he granted the watch the new gift. All right, so let's talk about the revenge thing. I might think, like, I maybe am gonna believe that he had an affair with Alysanne Targaryen. It being revenge, it's a little off. like your son's the reason why, or your brother husband's the reason why my brother's dead. So I'm a bang, yeah. Like that, I don't know about that. I'm not saying that he didn't resent Jaehaerys and that he didn't have an affair. I'm not saying that. I just don't think that was the motivation. Okay. That's a little rough. Okay. So I've also heard it said that Alyssa Targaryen, their daughter, Jaehaerys and Alysanne's daughter, Alyssa Targaryen, might have been Alaric's daughter. Proof being her darker blonde hair, because she's not like golden blonde. She kind of has darker blonde, which is weird because her father and mother, who were brother and sister, were pure blonde. You think that the gene pool's getting a little shallow, right? So she had darker hair, a long face, and her eyes were 2 colors, right? So that's kind of what people are thinking. Proof. The math is kind of sketchy. The math isn't great. Alysanne was in Winterfell in 58 AC and was there for half a year. And Alysanne was born in 60 AC. So that would be a long pregnancy. Sure. Or she could have gotten there super late 58 AC. Then the 6 months would have put her like halfway through 57. And if she got knocked up like right before Jaehaerys showed up, that kind of seems like a stretch, but I guess it's possible. Plus, people credit Alyssa Targaryen's, not only her long face, but her wild nature to her having wolf blood. And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't convinced until the more I thought about it. Alyssa Targaryen absolutely has wolf blood, and she is a lot like Arya. Like, she's really big in fighting, really big not in horse riding, but in dragon riding, because she's a dragon rider, and she got on the dragon really quick. She also took her sons, Daemon and Viserys. Yes, that Daemon and Viserys. She is Daemon and Viserys' mom. Like, on the dragons right away. She was all about riding dragons. She was also all about banging. It was her brother, so it's gross and weird, but Targaryens. I would say don't judge, but I do. I judge incest. Weird. But it's their culture. It's a weird one. But anyways, the more I think about it, and also the 2 different color eyes, it might be weird incest stuff, but the fact that she has a long face, which has always contributed to Starks, the fact that her gene pool is very non-branchy at this point, like the Velaryons are the only ones that the Targaryens, since it became Targaryens, or since it became kings, have actually introduced to the gene pool. So, like, yeah, there's there's not a lot of diversity there to do a different color eye or to have darker blonde hair. So maybe I'm not fully convinced, but I'm a really hard sell, guys. You can't really convince me too much a lot. Sorry, we'll see. You'll see it in some places. Plus, there's fan art all over the place. I didn't use all the fan art, but there's a lot of Alaric and Alysane fan art out there. It seems pretty accepted by many of my fellow YouTubers, or at least slightly accepted by these YouTubers. If you want a fun video talking about it, check out Interesting Nerd Club INC's video called The Bastard That Was Promised, or The Bastards That Were Promised, maybe. I thought I did it right. So this was an April Fool's video. So during April Fool's videos, INC will do, if you guys don't know who they are, I'm sure you do, Josh and Zach, Tom. Why did I say Josh? Tom and Zach, Josh. Tom and Zach will bring in new people and they will pretend to be Tom and Zach and kind of go through, do their shtick of kind of giving hints to come up with a theory and breaking down a theory, but they have two people pretending to be them doing it. This one was the one from 2 years ago, so not the one that happened this last April, but before that, and in it was Mira Reeds and Company of the Cat, who I absolutely love, both of them. I don't have a negative thing to say about Mira Reeds or Company of the Cat. It is a blast. So they do break it down, the theory completely, and I'm not sure how sold they are on it. I haven't asked Company of the Cat specifically, and Mira seems like she kind of was more sold on it before, and maybe she's a little more skeptical, but I don't know. I don't want to put words in her mouth. I might be just lying right now, but it's hard to read because the video is kind of like a bit, they're kind of like joking. So you can't really tell how invested they are, but I absolutely have seen in the Reddit posts and things like that, which, by the way, go check out that video and go check out the Reddit posts that I've talked about if you want more on this theory. But it does seem like it's rather accepted. And I was like, no. Then I watched that video and I read more on it, and maybe. People did say that it said that it was only planned in 58 AC, so maybe she got down there in 59 and then was there half a year, so it actually doesn't make the math muddled. But I don't actually know where it says that. As far as I could tell, she just left in 58. So I don't know. So that's everything. Do you guys believe in A+A = A, which is Alaric and Alysanne equal Alyssa Targaryen? Or not? And what do you think of Alaric? Is he a jerk? He's kind of a jerk. He's kind of he's nettish. But does that all mean then that the Targaryens, thanks to Alyssa Targaryen, who's actually the grandma of both, on both sides, she was Viserys' dad, and then Daemon's dad, who is Rhaenyra's husband. So Aegon III has Alyssa's Alyssa Targaryen's blood, and then even there's wolf blood, is what I'm saying. So if you follow that, the Targaryens got wolf blood rather early, actually, and that's kind of funny. I never really knew that, right? So do you believe that? Are you guys do you guys think that that A+A = A, and that's actually the prince that was promised for my blood, so on and so forth? We need a little bit of wolf's blood in there, and they get some wolf's blood. Anyways, or do you think that there's not wolf's blood in Targaryens until Jon Snow, if R+L = J is true, which everyone believes? So that's kind of like a big thing. Do you guys believe A+A = A? That's all I'm getting at. And if not, I don't know. I'm not completely sold. I think Alaric was just a jerk. And I think Queen Alysanne was just really charming. I don't think that just because somebody stays with somebody for 6 months means that there needs to be an affair. In fact, 100% true. Just because you hang out with a chick for 6 months doesn't mean that you're having an affair. Only if you are. there's no, yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. Thank you guys for watching. This ended up being a really long one, and the second Stark I'm now covered. So, yeah. Peace.